Trev, don't ask any dumb questions, please.
Yeah,
go ahead, Zach.
I'm full of them tonight.
I'm hoping for some dumb questions.
Nah, I got some pretty good ones.
And it's the Big Hammock Podcast coming to you via YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and iHeart. And I want to start this episode just a little bit different tonight, gentlemen. Shout out to Bayview Entertainment.
Yes.
Bayview has been producing, marketing, acquiring films for over 20 years. They forwarded our platform to their directors. They've been keeping us busy. Thank you, Bayview, for sharing these independent films and the people behind them with us.
Yeah, definitely to Peter and Paul. Oh, great guys, man.
That leads us to tonight's guest. Promoting a Bayview film. It's been being released in January. It was featured in Billboard magazine and won Best Feature at Wild Sound Film Festival in September. The name of the documentary is Ricky Nelson, Guntersville. Our guest tonight is the director of Ricky Nelson. His name is Kenny Scott. Before we watch the trailer, we cannot forget, everybody, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Whatever platform you're whatever platform you're watching on. I know I'm stuttering, Malcolm. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put you to work tonight on your editing skills.
We've only had almost 40 shows, and you still can't get the intro.
Well, I'm leaving all that in.
I'm trying to do it different every time. You know,
Yeah.
I gotta be special. Keep you guys on your toes.
Oh, you're special.
Thanks.
You got a cold, dude.
Maybe.
And I'm sitting this close to you.
You
Yes.
can scoot over a little bit if you want.
No, he's on a keto.
I'm locked in now.
He's on the keto. He'll be okay.
Nah, keto don't help with that.
You can purchase our movie, thebighammock.com. One word, thebighammock.com. That is where our movie is at. You can check it out. That's why we started this show. We've had on cast members, directors. He's in the back. I didn't even introduce y'all tonight.
No.
I'm all off.
You just went straight into
We
it.
have the director of the Big Hammock in the studio, running the soundboard.
Boop, 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 boop.
Myself and Travis.
You sound like a flat tire. Like a fat kid just popped your bike.
Yeah, stick to your keto.
Producers of the Big Hammock film. Again, that's what this podcast turned into.
Oh, yeah.
We turned into I done lost it. You're definitely gonna do some editing on this one. I don't know.
You getting all this from a cough drop, bro?
I think so.
What'd you put in it?
How about this? Let's just do this. Let's check the trailer out.
Yeah,
for
let's
Ricky
do that. At least we
Nelson,
can do that properly.
Guntersville. Let's do that.
Quiet. Marker. Action.
I might need a tissue for this.
When the fire that you built.
We learned that Rick was coming to Guntersville a couple of weeks before the concert actually happened.
I was there all the way to the end at the airport till I watched them fly away.
He stayed here at what used to be the Holiday Inn, Lake Guntersville.
Rick actually stayed in this room.
And I think I knew about 3.5 chords on a guitar. Now I know about 4.
I forgot about that. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me try to remember that. It's only been 40 years, you guys.
Rick Nelson was more real. He was like approachable. I look at that stage because I remember him standing there. I remember he had a white tie, and I remember, him walking off stage and meeting the city councilman.
They cannot remain.
And it was just unreal that he was here.
So tread lightly and swift as the cold stings your skin. In the wide winter sun, guide you home again.
And now, the director of this award-winning documentary. Welcome to the show, Kenny Scott.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to this. I've been actually looking forward to it for well, since we set it up, actually, I've been looking forward to it. So yeah.
Well, Kenny, if you could, real quick,
tell us if you can hear all of Zach's mess ups on your side of the line. That's all I want to know. Are you recording this on your side just so you can leak it out of just how bad he is doing tonight on the intro?
Listen, I used to podcast myself, and I will be 100% honest. I never thought I was too good at it, and so I would never ever do that to anybody.
It's okay. You can do it to Zach, though. It's okay. We encourage it.
That's
on
the
this
thing.
show.
If I can do it, anybody can do it. So yeah, that's it. That's it right there. If I can do it, you can do it.
I missed the chance to go live on Facebook tonight. If
I
I didn't know it would have been this.
I just know that
hey, that would be
Travis-
fun. I'm always down. I'm always down. We can go live.
Kenny, we normally make Travis be the brunt of all the jokes around here, and for sure, I'm glad that I was able to relieve that off of Travis a little bit
Yeah,
tonight.
about time.
Because I am
only been 10
definitely
Travis needs a
episodes.
night off there.
I've got a little bit of a cold, and it's throwing me off my A game. And
I'm so sorry, man.
it's all good. So
I whine when I'm sick. I'm like terrible. I am like the worst, and I don't care if it's a cold. I'm on my deathbed. To me.
So Kenny, real quick, I definitely, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there for all the listeners and for yourself. We really enjoyed this documentary. Travis and I have talked about it already before we even started doing any type of recording or even met. But what I wanted to do real quick before we got into the movie was just give you the opportunity and give you the floor to talk about your journey in the independent film industry leading up to this documentary.
I am the worst at talking about myself. I have such terrible imposter syndrome. It always feels like I'm talking about somebody else when I'm talking about myself. But yeah, sure. Just a little background. During the pandemic, I started podcasting, and as I mentioned, and I had some guests on there. I was like, if I'm going to do a podcast, I want it to be a little bit different than what the other shows are. If it's going to be movie based, it needs to have like people who were affiliated with those films on there. And so that's what I did. Like when we did an episode about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, we had Julie Dawn Cole on there who played Veruca Salt.
Oh, nice.
In Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's cool.
And yeah, we did a few different episodes where my mentor Trevor Lesueur, who I don't know if you guys are aware of him, he is a actor and a musician in Los Angeles. He was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch for seasons 5 and 6, I believe. But he came on and did a couple episodes with us, and then he stuck around for the duration after that. And yeah, but doing that show, I started getting more opportunities to be involved with film projects for other people. And once I started doing that, then I was kind of like, man, I really want to do something for myself. And I was working on projects that were closer to home, but they weren't really like what I wanted to do necessarily. And then last year, an old friend came back into my life, Chris Hooten. And he said, hey, you want to make movies and I want to help you finance them and get them made. So why don't we do that? And so we did. We started our company, CK Film and Entertainment, last November, actually. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. It's insane, right? I can't believe it's been a year.
Well, that's great growth.
Yeah, we've already shot 2 movies, right? Rick Nelson being one of them. And then the other is called 77. And already working on what's next in the pipeline, and we've done a few things in a year. I can't believe it's all of a sudden celebrating the 1-year anniversary. But yeah, that's just a little bit of my background there.
Are you
just how I got involved?
Are you strictly only do like documentaries, or do you try to do?
No, actually, the funny thing was, having been, because I'd say, I've been in the film industry for 5 years now, because I started in 2020. It was late 2020. I had made a lot of horror films, as I said, for other people. I'd produce them or, what have you. And, but I never had done a documentary until this. And so it was kind of, I wasn't sure if we'd be really, honestly, good at it. because, I didn't know anything about documentary filmmaking. I knew how to do a narrative, right? And so, yeah, we did Rick Nelson, and it just totally blew me away. I was totally surprised by what it turned out to be.
So that's pretty cool because I'm actually the same way, right? So I've only done narrative work,
right,
outside of being a camera guy for a documentary that never came out that me and Travis was paid to do. But the guy never came out. But mainly me and Travis have done narrative work. Well, just recently this last year, I've actually been working on my first documentary. Now it's not about one specific person's life, so I've been kind of trying to figure out how to tackle the structure of it. And you can only watch so many documentaries before you're like, well, they're all different. They all have different structures. So it's not like you can't copy one of them, especially with the topic that we're dealing with is about doctrine in churches, right? So I know that's completely irrelevant to anything as far as,
I'm interested, though. We can talk about that, for sure. I mean, we can talk about that later if you want. Now I don't care, but yeah, no, I'm interested in that. For sure.
It's just
I'm interested in that.
Well, it's called the New Old Past Conference, right? So, and we have a conference at our church every year, and it's about the biblical path and not this new modern age style of church. So, long story short, I filmed interviews and the sermons and everything from the conference, and we're trying to build this documentary on the doctrines of the Bible, and just the different structures of documentaries. Like I said, there's no two the same when it comes to the uniqueness of them. Right now, obviously, you have your basic History Channel documentaries that all kind of have that same layout, that same template, but when it comes,
I get so tired of those like cradle to grave documentaries.
Yes, I'm with you. And that's what
they'll start like the documentary, and it'll start really interesting to me. And it's like, man, this is grabbing me. And then they'll go back to, they were born on this day. I'm like, oh my God, you lost me. Like, come on. I don't want to go through this person's entire life. Like just get to the interesting part.
Right. Right. And that's kind of how we stayed. So I say all that to get to how did you figure out exactly how you're going to attack the structure of the documentary on how you did it?
So the structure originally was completely different than the film that turned out to be. And I am so thankful that it turned into what it actually is, because what I had envisioned for the film initially was I was going to go to Guntersville with a camera crew. I was going to kind of retrace Rick's last steps, right? Because he was there for those couple days in Alabama, and I was going to visit the hotel. I was going to visit the building there that was the former nightclub, PJ's Alley, and the airport. And it was just going to be me kind of just, narrating, kind of voyeuristic, cinema verite type approach to it. And I mean, it was cool to me as a fan, but
so let me ask you this real quick. I hate to cut you off. I'm bad at that.
Yeah, he loves to cut people off, but go ahead.
Were you a fan of Ricky Nelson before you started doing this documentary?
Absolutely, yeah. I discovered him when I was a teenager.
Okay, so
yeah.
So I guess the reason why I'm going that direction with it is, I'm not gonna lie, I'm 38 years old. And I watched the documentary. I don't know if I said it or not. I enjoyed it. But I did not know who Ricky Nelson was before I started watching this documentary.
That's a shame.
Had no clue. So I say that to say this, right? I didn't know who he was. I watched it, and obviously I know who he is after watching it, but I also did a little bit of just surface research on Google. And I found I literally asked myself, how did I not hear about this guy?
Yeah.
Right? He was some of the things that he was known for. He was 50s and 60s. It was Harriet and Ozzy. That was the longest episodic TV show at the time.
Ozzy and Harriet.
The Adventures of Ozzy and Harriet. And then obviously he was, as big, and I wouldn't say as big as Elvis, but he was part of the Elvis era.
He was compared to Elvis all the time.
I just and I'm like, how
Definitely.
so as after I watched the documentary and then after I did the surface research, I asked myself, how is it that I went all this time and didn't even know about this guy?
Mm-hmm.
So I set that all up for you, Kenny. I'm 30, I'm 38 years old, and I even Travis. How old are you, Travis?
I'll be
63.
45. No,
68.
no, I'll be 40,
okay,
45 in a week.
The reason why I'm saying that is my brother-in-law is the same age as you, Travis.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know who Ricky Nelson was. So I'm saying that to say
That's because he's older than 45, bro.
I'm saying that
It's
to say
it's how I was raised.
there's a lot of generations that are even younger than we are. Can you tell our listeners in a nutshell who Ricky Nelson was?
Absolutely. So I want to start by saying, you said that, not knowing who he was. I think that Rick had the unfortunate disadvantage of being around at the same time as Elvis, but then also too, the British invasion happened, and that type of music style was at that point on its way out.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was unfortunately, I think, overshadowed during what could have been a much more, which I don't want to say much more successful, because to me, I feel like he was definitely successful. But I think it could have been more successful than even what he was. And, but just a little background with Rick. He started out on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, which, as we mentioned, was, the longest episodic TV sitcom in television history. It still is. A lot of people will tell you that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is the longest running sitcom. And it is by season count, but they didn't have 400 and some episodes either. Yeah. So, you have to go by the episode count.
I found myself asking myself, like, again, everybody knows I Love Lucy.
Yeah. Right.
Like, how do you know I Love Lucy, but you don't know about The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet? How do you not know that?
It's stuff like that.
Also, too, though, I want to say Lucy has also had the benefit of being in reruns pretty much since it left the air. It's never left the air, Ozzie and Harriet hasn't really been rerun like that. I think they were to a point in the 90s, maybe. Yeah. I know the Disney Channel reran them for a bit, but it just hasn't had that afterlife that a series like I Love Lucy has. And, of course, at that point, it begins to fade into obscurity, which I think is unfortunate. Right. Rick, he was a lot of firsts, because, like, even for instance, there was his song Traveling Man. His father, Ozzie, shot some footage for that song. They pieced it together, and that became what's known by some as the very first music video. Right. And, he really was a pioneer when it came to that rockabilly type of music. And man, once he started singing on the show, which was in the 5th season, it'd been on for 5 years by that time, Ozzie typically would not let Rick go on other shows that were on at the time, like those variety shows. Yep. If people wanted to hear him sing, they had to watch The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. So, of course, that built up their fan base back then. And and he went on to, he started doing more of a country style with his songs. Yeah, he released, like Garden Party. Yeah, and it was all cut tragically short on New Year's Eve, 1985. Yep. And I think that there was a lot more that was ahead of him.
So I got a question too. Like, how do you obtain the rights to even do a documentary on an individual like that? Is there some type of process you have to go through? Is there permissions you have to get from their estate? Like, how does that work?
No, I mean, because here's the thing, the fair use doctrine, encompasses anything for commentary and educational purposes. And as long as we're using it for those purposes, then we're good, because, we're not doing it as a means to say anything negative about the person. We're just sticking purely to the facts. that happened, and we're using it for educational purposes.
And I think it was all firsthand accounts too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
They were absolutely,
for
absolutely.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to ask the permission of the family members or anything like that.
No,
Like-
because the people that we were talking to, you know, they were telling us, you know, their story. We gave a little bit of background about Rick in the film to catch the viewer up to 1985. But, you know, that, you know, is all historical record and is easily accessible anywhere online.
Okay.
And so everything that we covered in the film, like you mentioned, were firsthand accounts. You know, we had Lynn Upton talking about when her husband Pat invited Rick, you know, down, you know, and I mean that's her story, and she has the right to tell it, right?
So you
And,
didn't have to get
you
release
know.
forms or not to have them sign release forms or anything in order for you to pursue the film and if you was going to make any kind of profit or use it in a distribution way, or you didn't have to get them to
From the
sign.
Nelson family, no, because, you know, we're talking about a, you know, well-known, well, I say well-known, but we're just saying that we didn't know who he was. But, you know, we are talking about a well-known public figure at that point.
Okay.
And we're using it for educational purposes. So, I mean, we weren't exploiting him. You know, we were just trying to further educate individuals on that last performance that usually gets glossed over in his biographies. And, you know, even what you read online, it doesn't really tell you much about anything that happened at the show, or, you know, or anything that was, you know, personal to those people there in Gunnersville. So the film has the subtitle Gunnersville because the film is really not about Rick.
Yes.
It's about the people of Gunnersville.
Yes, yes,
And
and that's what I really wanted to. I was glad you said that, because that is the basis of the film.
It is
that last the last show that he did was in Gunnersville.
Absolutely.
And you were interviewing the people of Gunnersville and what they experienced at that last show.
Yeah, it's their story. It's you know, it's Rick is almost the backdrop for their story. And that's who the film's really about, is about the citizens of Gunnersville, who amazingly, so many of them are still here and with us. And, you know, it's a lot of them have become like family to me at this point, because I've been in constant contact almost with most of them for quite a while now. You know,
nice. And that brings me to one of the questions that I had now. I'm a big fan of Tuesday Night. Like, I grew up on Nightmare on Elm Street and everything like that. So, you know, I knew about her singing background and her father and everything like that. Like, how was you able to approach that and get that into the documentary and be able to tell those stories?
So it's wild. Tuesday is a friend of one of my business partners, Denny Kidd. He is a musician. And, he actually was the one who initially got me in touch with Tuesday.
Okay.
And once she told me, wait, you know, my dad was this composer, Baker Knight, who I actually didn't know who her dad was when she told me initially. So kudos to you for knowing that. I actually didn't know. And now, looking back on all of that, I'm like, how did you not know? You know, like, but, you know, she mentioned specifically Rick Nelson, and I'm like, wait a minute, Rick's my idol. I've always loved Rick. And we got on that subject, and I told her, you know, when I decided to do the film, I was like, I'm going to do this film. Would you want to be interviewed in it and talk about your dad? And she was like, absolutely. I'm totally down for that. And we finally got the date to shoot her scenes. We shot her scenes in a hotel in Cincinnati. Yeah, it was Cincinnati.
Nice.
She had just done Horror Hound, the convention in Cincinnati. That was shot September. Her interview was shot September of 2024, and she had just done Horror Hound. We all went out to dinner, and then we went back to her hotel room. That was shot in her hotel room in Cincinnati. And but she's a trooper. She's always down. She would have came on here tonight and talked if I'd asked her to. You know, she's always down to do whatever.
Hey, if there's a way that we can get her on and we can do like a follow-up episode, I'd love to sit down and talk.
Look, I can. You just let me know after. I can just shoot her a text and set it up. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
So,
and then the fact, like, because I don't want to give spoilers away, but I mean, doesn't really give a spoiler away.
You don't give spoilers away for a historical event. That's all I'm gonna say.
But you got her to perform at the end of it, and it was just like, man, that was awesome seeing that. Now, did you shoot that?
No, I did not. That was actually shot by Jeff Kirshner, who is also a filmmaker as well. And that portion of her singing there was part of a music video that he shot of her, where she lives in Portland, Oregon, actually. And that song she sang, "The Wonder of You," which I think is so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Her dad wrote it, and then Elvis famously sang it. But of course, Tuesday retained, she's got the rights to the songs because her dad wrote them. And she did a cover, which I love her cover version of it. It's great. And Jeff shot that music video for her, and I asked her, I said, "Do you care if I incorporate some of that in the film?" And as I said, she's always a trooper. She's always down. She's like, "Yeah, absolutely, do it." My editor and co-director, Sammy Jabor, I don't think he was happy with closing the film like that.
Yeah.
I think he had something else in mind. And I was very adamant the whole time. It has to end with Tuesday performing "The Wonder of You," because I wanted to end on a message of hope. After you talk about this man, unfortunately, his life being tragically cut short in a plane crash, you have to have some type of positivity and you have to have some type of hope there after that to end the film. Because if I'm watching something, I don't want to be depressed when it's over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and I thought that ending with that montage and performance was, I thought, the right way to go.
No, it was definitely like a chef's kiss towards the end, because I mean, you went through an emotional roller coaster watching this whole thing, and then all of a sudden, you just get hit right at the very end, and this is like this beautiful send off. And man, it just made me so excited. I mean, it's while the credits were rolling, that's when I was emailing you talking about, dude, you just took me back to my childhood. I got to see
Tuesday. So happy, like it really does.
Yeah, bro. I was just all excited. I was like, man, I can't wait to talk about this tonight.
The one thing that most people tell me is they did not know that Tuesday Night could sing, and I'm like, how?
Well,
what?
I mean, look at the beginning of Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, that was her theme song. She sung that song, and she's still fighting for rights for that song. She's never really even been paid.
And so I was super glad to get, and I know she goes through that portion of the film where she talks about her father and his passing, and it's not really relevant to Rick or to Gunnersville, but it felt right and it felt real. And the fact that he did pass away in Alabama as well, where Gunnersville is in Alabama, I mean, it felt that it belonged in the story.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely served the right kind of purpose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Another real quick question, because I usually ask all the dopey nerdy questions, but what do you guys use to film that?
We use Black Magic cameras, and honestly, the funny thing is, the airport shots where I don't know if where Greg Leach, I don't know if you retain the names, but Greg Leach was the manager of the airport. Okay. You can see him there at the airport. The actual bunker is gone where that Rick had hung out while they were waiting to get the plane started and everything. The actual bunker's no longer there, but we sat Greg there, facing the direction where it was. And it was so funny because we were on a time crunch, right? And we had some of our crew back at the PJ's Alley building filming with one camera. And then we took the other camera to the airport to film Greg Leach. I don't know how or why, but somehow or other, the camera that we had, unfortunately, died while we were interviewing Greg. And I was like, I'm not going to let this happen. I literally pulled out my phone and started filming him on my phone. I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen, because I was not going to miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
You had Greg there, and I wasn't going to say, oh, can we get you later? Can we do, no, I wasn't going to let that happen. But yeah, they were filmed on Black Magic cameras, and they were purchased by my business partner, Chris Hooten, who I'd mentioned before. He had purchased them right before we started shooting the film, and then we used them later on to shoot our narrative film, 77, which we shot right after we shot Rick Nelson. And so, yeah.
How long did it take you to shoot everything started? I know that you said that you started out with with a vision on how this documentary should be, and then it turned into something else. How long was that?
It did.
How long did that take?
It was quite a process, really, because the bulk of the film was shot in 2 days. The interviews,
wow,
most of them. Because, like I said, we had some people doing one interview while we had the other part of the crew doing another interview.
Well, and obviously you had a plan, right? So it was
we did.
Yeah.
I made it because like I said, I'd never done a documentary before, but I knew how to make a shooting schedule.
Yeah.
So I made a shooting schedule, and I treated it just like a regular film. I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna shoot it. This is when we're gonna shoot it. I had times. We're gonna interview this person and shoot it. We're gonna interview this person and shoot it at this time, and so in total, I got the idea to shoot the film in June of 2024. And then we shot Tuesday night, like I said, September of 2024. And we didn't shoot anything else again until the end of March of this year. Oh, and wow. that was the 2 days that we shot that was the 2 days that we shot the bulk of the interviews. The last thing that we shot at all on the film was Tuesday's mom, Dorothy. And that was shot in July or August of this year.
Wow. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, so I would say in total, as far as actual filming, we had 4 days, but I had a few months of
That's impressive.
And,
that's a quick time.
I had that idea. Thank you. I had the idea of what I wanted it to be, but then once I got in contact with Sarah Watkins there at the Advertiser Gleam in Guntersville, she's a journalist. She had all these connections in Guntersville. She's like, well, I know this lady, and she was there at the night of the last performance. Do you want to talk to her? And I was like, yeah, let's talk to her.
So, Kenny, can you tell me tell us when is that going to be available to the public in general,
and where they can
find it? Yeah,
it'll be in January of 2026, which I still feel like sounds a lot further away than what it is because it's only like 2 months now. But I know January, and I know Amazon Prime. But as far as actual specifics on that, I don't have anything yet. I've been a constant in Bayview's ear, like, hey, give me specifics. I need dates. I need a specific day. I need platforms. And I messaged Peter before I came on this. I said, listen, I got that interview at 9. Is there any kind of an update that I need to give them besides the fact that I'm a pain in your neck? And he said, no, just me. And I said, okay, all right, I can take that. So yeah, but it will be January, and I know Amazon Prime at least. And Bayview typically, because I've worked with Bayview for a couple of years now, and we've always had such a great relationship with them. And I know they always do Blu-rays. I'm gonna see about doing DVDs as well. Nice. I can't guarantee anything, obviously, but I know that a lot of people who will want to watch the film, maybe they don't have a Blu-ray player. And I actually had that question from someone the other day. I don't have a Blu-ray player and I don't stream. Is there going to be a DVD? And I was like, okay, so there's something we can look into. Okay, so
yeah. Which is odd, man, because I guess it's because I've been in film for so long, but I'm a big technical geek. Even when we put out our film, there was a lot of people that, they didn't have Blu-ray players, they didn't have DVD players, and they're like, well, how can we see the film? And I was like, are you kidding me? You don't have. What do you watch your what do you watch your media on?
Yeah, how do you what do you utilize? Yeah. I don't have a DVD player, I don't have a Blu-ray player, and I don't stream. Okay, I'm not putting it out on VHS. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man. So sorry.
Well,
but yeah, we've talked about putting out our own DVDs if Bayview does not. So okay. We're gonna look at that.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to seeing it all across Amazon Prime or whatever other platform it is. And, if you do get an update on that before we drop this podcast episode, reach out to us via email. You've obviously been talking to Travis already. Yeah. We can add it in the comments section or, throw a plug in there where people can see it.
Well, knock on wood, if we can get Tuesday on and re-bring it up and talk about all that. That's a perfect time to plug it.
Like I said, I can set this up with no problem.
Nice.
I can shoot her a text as soon as I get off of here.
You're the man. because I'd love to push this film.
All right.
I've got some people that you could probably have on there.
Okay.
All right. You wanted to talk Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I can set you up with Alan Danziger, who is Jerry the van driver.
What? Let's go.
Yeah, you're talking Travis's language now.
Well, see, that was one of the questions.
He did an episode of my podcast back in the day, and I stayed in touch with him. Yeah.
Nice.
And, so.
Very cool.
Yeah, because that was going to be one of the questions I asked, but Malcolm brought it up earlier because when I looked them up, I seen all the horror movies, and my first question was going to be, how'd you transition from horror to documentary? Like,
okay, so that was one thing. When Chris Putin came back into my life and said, "Hey, let's do this," he's like, "Listen," he said, "I really think that you are someone who you've worked on some horror films, but," he said, "I think you're someone who can make a different type of genre." And he said, "Why don't we try that and see?" And I found I have so much more fun outside of horror. Not that horror is not fun. It's totally fun, and I love it. But I just feel like I am creating something different. And that's what's cool. Because when I do the same thing over and over, I eventually lose interest in doing it. And so doing something different is very exciting. And and especially too with Rick Nelson, I didn't expect it to turn into what it turned into. I was selfishly making it as a fan. And I didn't know, oh wait, other people care about this too? What? It was crazy. So yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So real quick, we do a thing called speed questions and answers. And
I'm suck at these.
Yes. And here's the thing too. Well, this is what really sucks is that it's about movies. So I know you've got the passion of movies, and it's going to be hard for you to choose. So here's what you got to do. You just got to shout out the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, you can't think about it, because if you think about it for too long, you're just never going to come up with an answer. So we'll go.
Yes.
All right. So your favorite comedy.
Oh God. Okay. No. Okay. Ask me again, because I got to start. I got to that. I thought too long.
Favorite action.
Die Hard.
Favorite documentary. Die Hard's good. All right. Favorite documentary.
Rick Nelson, Gunnersville.
There you go. That's right. Ding, 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 yes. There you go. Favorite comedy.
50 First Dates.
Okay.
Ooh, good one.
Favorite director.
Martin Scorsese.
Nice. All right. Favorite actor.
Or Darren Stein, because Darren Stein's a friend. I got to say Darren Stein.
Okay. All right. Favorite actor.
Michael J. Fox, hands down.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Back to the future. Yeah. All right.
Love Michael J. Fox.
All right. Good deal. All right. Kenny, I tell you, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I don't say that like we enjoyed the documentary. Like I said, I was telling you before you came on the show, we don't say that about all of them. We enjoyed it. And we
thank you so much.
I think that we definitely got we definitely got some future things together as far as coming back on. You seem to fit in.
Absolutely. Just hit me up and let me know like a week in advance, and I'll make it happen.
Yeah,
all right. Awesome, bro.
You definitely your
fun.
Your comedy, you're just you seem like you can fit in with this crowd.
Oh yeah, man, I can hang with this.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do. I would like to do more of the speed questions though next time.
Okay. All right.
That's the only stipulation.
The only critique I would have of you being a guest is you're not making fun of Zach or Travis enough for me. You have to boost that up a little.
Enough. That's my thing.
That's
gonna make fun.
That's the best part. Just you first time meeting them, and they just that's just how big of a loser they are. You just tell them how big of a loser.
I can do that. I promise. I'll See, I'm still in the respectful stage.
Oh God,
that's all.
I'm past that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When we close this out, I'm not gonna let you make fun of Travis because he asked some good questions on this interview.
Oh man, they was the dumbest question.
No,
it was great. No, I will. I'll do whatever you guys want, but just let me know as far as with setting up anything for Tuesday or anybody else that you want on.
Kenny, thank you so much for your time. Listeners, check out his documentary come January, Amazon Prime. Ricky Nelson, Gunnersville. Check him out. Thanks for coming on. See you next time, Kenny.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Ha, I didn't blow it.
He deserved the outgoing musical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Good job, Travis.
Yeah, good job, everybody else.
Good job, Travis.
That was a good one.
Don't let him
Don't shake your head.